Ladies and gentlemen, it's already here. In case you blinked, you may not have realized that King and Queen of the Ring already takes place just in a couple of days. Because after the super long dry spell of shows between WrestleMania and Backlash, now we're in back-to-back-to-back premium live events that are only 2 to 3 weeks separated. So I don't blame you if you didn't realize that King and Queen of the Ring was taking place this quickly. Now in today's video, we're going to go through my predictions of the entire show. We're going to run down the matches and who I think is going to win and why. I'll also talk about one particular surprise that I do think is going to happen at this show. And if it doesn't happen at this show, I think they're taking way too long to give us this surprise. Now, before that, I do want to say that I appreciate this year's King and Queen of the Ring. For the first time in a very long time, it feels like the King and Queen of the Ring actually matter. In previous years, it was just sort of this moniker that you gave somebody for winning what felt like a meaningless tournament. But this year, even though we don't know what the winner will ultimately get in terms of main event pushes, main event opportunities, it still feels like the winner of these King and Queen of the Ring tournaments is poised for a big main event push. And that's because the WWE has done such a great job at booking this tournament and making it feel like a main event. So I'll go ahead and say it. The King and Queen of the Ring are back, baby. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I know that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And if you're a regular, you already know that I keep my promise of daily content. In case you're new here, this is not my typical setup. I don't have my lighting. I don't have my good microphone. This is me on vacation. And even me on vacation is giving you daily videos. So that should tell you that I'm not bullshitting about this. I do daily videos. Make sure you subscribe. All right, let's jump into it. Let's start off with Becky Lynch going in as the WWE Women's World Champion, taking on challenger Liv Morgan. I think for the first time in a very, very long time, the WWE has done a fantastic job at booking Liv Morgan. They've been doing a fantastic job with Liv Morgan, not just in terms of the decisions that happen in ring, but also the things that are happening backstage, the promos that she's cutting, her motivations, her goals feel real this time around. Because in the past, Liv Morgan just sort of felt like this plucky underdog that was trying to reach above her weight class. But now it truly feels like she is a threat to the Women's World Championship. She is a threat to the main event scene. And it's not because her in-ring ability or her aura has changed, it's because the WWE has simply just done a much better job with her character to make her believable. It's interesting to think that she's more believable as a dangerous threat than she was ever as an underdog, at least in my opinion. Becky Lynch, on the other hand, I've been disappointed with during this feud. She just hasn't really felt like the champion that we deserve, especially after Rhea Ripley. And I guess I can't really blame Becky Lynch. Rhea Ripley was a once-in-a-lifetime type of champion to come along, and we lost her very quickly and very suddenly. With that being said, we have quite a few championship matches available on this show, and to me, this is the only championship that's actually in danger of changing hands on this show. So because of the great job that the WWE has done in terms of building Liv Morgan, what we know can come from Liv Morgan being champion, an angry, pissed off Rhea Ripley that could come back wanting to tear out Liv Morgan's eyes for not just taking the championship, but potentially taking Dominic Mysterio as well. I think that Liv Morgan is the right choice here. I'm gonna say Liv Morgan, which is kind of a crazy thing. As far as I know as well, Becky Lynch's contract status is still a little bit up in the air as well, so I think that everything is just pointing that this is the right time for Liv Morgan. Next up, we have the Intercontinental Championship match between Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, and Bronson Reed. I know that triple threat matches are an easy way to take the championship off of somebody, but I just don't think that that's going to be the case in front of a very Sami Zayn friendly crowd in Saudi Arabia. Something I've realized with the recent Saudi Arabian shows is that the WWE doesn't like to piss off the Saudi Arabian crowd. They like to give them what they want to see. So since Sami Zayn is the beloved guy in Saudi Arabia, and to me, it just feels like a swerve to take the championship off of him right here, right now, to me, I think it's an easy one. I think you got to go with Sami Zayn here. I do think that they're going to continue these feuds between Sami Zayn, Bronson Reed, and Chad Gable in shows to come, but I do ultimately believe that the big payoff is going to be Sami Zayn and Chad Gable at some point or another. At the very least, that's what the fans want, and I do think that that's what the fans are going to get. I do think that we're going to get a Chad Gable Intercontinental Intercontinental Championship victory, but in Saudi Arabia, I don't think is somewhere where the WWE is willing to pull the trigger. Now let's talk about the Queen of the Ring match between the incredibly surprising choice of Lyra Valkyria taking on the winner of Bianca Belair or Nia Jax. Now, before I recorded this video, I would have been 1,000% certain that we were running back Io Sky versus Bianca Belair again. And they were setting it up perfectly for Bianca Belair to lose and once again be pissed and angry that Damage Control took something away from her. And the WWE did a great job of setting this up with the Bianca Belair knee injury. She could have easily gone into Queen of the Ring and lost kind of cleanly to Io Sky, or even with shenanigans to help continue to further this anger that Bianca Belair has been developing. An anger that I think was going to lead not to a Bianca Belair heel turn, but to a frustrated Jade Cargill turning on Bianca Belair because of all of the complaining that she's been doing about Damage Control. But instead, the WWE has decided to really push Lyra Valkyria as the next generation of women's WWE superstars, and I think that that's great, but I feel like we're being robbed of the perfect match that was Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. I also think it's a bit peculiar that in a crowd that already is a bit uninterested in women's wrestling in Saudi Arabia, that you would put a fairly unknown, still unproven to the main roster, Lyra Valkyria in front of that crowd. It's a bit peculiar to me. In terms of who I think now is going to come out of the SmackDown side, I do think that it's going to be Nia Jax. I do think that now they have an easy out for Nia Jax to beat Bianca Belair, which is that Bianca Belair knee injury. So the WWE has the easy out. I doubt that they're going to do brand new, fresh babyface Lyra Valkyria versus top babyface Bianca Belair. That to me just doesn't make any sense. I'm confident that it's going to be Nia Jax. Not only am I confident that it's going to be Nia Jax, but I think it's going to be Nia Jax that wins the Queen of the Ring here. I do ultimately believe that the King and Queen of the Ring moniker is better served for heels anyway, so I do think that they set this up pretty good enough to at the very least give us a credible heel victor. But I do think that it would have been better as Queen Io Sky, the Queen of the Sky, to be the Queen of the Ring. But I guess they're going in a different direction. Because of this direction that they're going with, I'm going to go Nia Jax to win the SmackDown side and Nia Jax to win the whole Queen of the Ring.
Fellas, let me talk to you. If there's a surefire way to wake up feeling fresh after a night of drinking, it's with Z-Biotics. Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was actually invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Z-Biotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly and you'll feel your best tomorrow. For me, every time I have a Z-Biotics before drinks, I notice that the next day I'm actually feeling fresh. And it's because I'm feeling fresh that I'm able to still do the things that I love to the fullest even after a night of drinking. For example, going to the gym and exercising and making those gains. At least for me personally, a night of drinking makes for an easy excuse to miss a day at the gym since I'm not feeling the best in the morning. But with Z-Biotics, I feel fresh the next day, so I have no excuse but to keep going to the gym and grinding. Because fellas, those gains don't make themselves. So go to zbiotics.com/Santi to get 15% off your first order when you use Santi at checkout. Z-Biotics is backed with 100% money back guaranteed, so if you're unsatisfied for any reasons, they'll refund you your money, no questions asked. So remember to head to zbiotics.com/Santi and use code Santi at checkout for 15% off. Thank you to Z-Biotics for sponsoring this episode and our good times. Back to the video.
On the King of the Ring side, they went with the expected decision, which is to have Gunther win the Raw side of things. And when I look at the SmackDown bracket between Tama Tonga and Randy Orton, there's no way in hell it's going to be Tama Tonga. It's going to be Randy Orton. Again, it just doesn't make sense to do heel versus heel unless you want to set up something down the line of Solo Sikoa versus Gunther or something. What I think they're going with is Gunther really collecting the Infinity Stones as he works his way towards the main event and becoming a world heavyweight champion. And I think a great stepping stone here is Randy Orton. As much as I would love to see King Randy Orton, it just doesn't make sense for his career at this point to win King of the Ring. It's a meaningless accolade for him, but something that could catapult Gunther to heights beyond belief. So when I look at the context of things, when I look at what can happen on the SmackDown side, it doesn't make sense to do somebody from the bloodline to take on Gunther. It's going to be Randy Orton versus Gunther again, babyface versus heel. And when I look at who can benefit the most from the King of the Ring, it sure as shit just is not Randy Orton, it's Gunther. Plus, when I look at all the European shows that we still have, like Clash at the Castle and Bash at Berlin, you want to set up Gunther to be your top contender for this belt, or maybe even your champion going into a show like Bash in Berlin. So fellas, I think that you need to book this one. I think that it's going to be Gunther here. And then last but not least, we have our championship match between Logan Paul challenging against the champion Cody Rhodes. Now, by all standards of how I'm looking at this matchup, to me, it just looks like a really, really flashy exhibition match. Kind of like Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Because I just don't think that there's any inkling of an opportunity that Logan Paul will walk away with the championship. But just because it's a predictable ending, it doesn't mean that it can't be an exciting match and an exciting ending that can set up a lot of things down the line. So I'll be really quick with this. I think that Cody Rhodes is going to win. It just doesn't make sense for Cody Rhodes to lose to Logan Paul when there's still so many more bigger things ahead for Cody Rhodes, like the final boss, The Rock, and Roman Reigns. But I also think that this is the perfect opportunity for you to end this match in a no contest while keeping Logan Paul feeling and looking strong coming out of Saudi Arabia into SummerSlam by having the Uncle Howdy faction finally make their presence felt. And you can have them make their presence felt by attacking both guys where you don't know where Uncle Howdy's team is going to lie. Are they good guys? Are they bad guys? They can just destroy everyone, kind of like the Nexus back in 2011. I do ultimately think that the WWE missed the absolute best opportunity and the best crowd to debut Uncle Howdy in front of, but this is going to have to do. So I asked the Saudi crowd that if we do get Uncle Howdy and his team appearing at the show, please get off your seats and cheer. So I do think it's going to be a Cody Rhodes victory via disqualification, with Uncle Howdy making his presence felt at the end of this match. Ultimately, I do think that King and Queen of the Ring is going to be a fun premium live event, albeit a little bit predictable, but they've turned these predictable B-tier PLEs in recent memory into must-watch television, and I don't see why the WWE can't do it again. All right, folks, this is your opportunity to leave me your predictions in the comments down below. Let me know who you think is going to win, who you think is going to lose. But that's it. I'm done. Get out of here.